Hello everyone, it's your bud. Today I will be talking about the animals of 40k, and though I will not cover every specific horrifying creation or mutation of the 41st millennium, I will do an overview of the many species that exist throughout the galaxy. First of all, many Space Marine chapters to do with animals, like those of the Raven Guard, Space Wolves, and Salamanders, have their own planets, with animals explained only briefly, not all on one definitive list. So I might miss some animals. There's a list labeled Flora and Fauna of 40k, but many of the key animals like the Salamanders of Nocturne or the Wolves of Fenris were not on the list. So if I miss any of your favorites, please let me know in the comments below. I think I got most of them, so if I left one out, it's not because I don't like it. This is the 41st millennium. So much time has passed that the origins of species can be impossible to determine. Were dinosaurs placed on Earth and other planets by the Eldar during the height of their power? Or were they simply natural life of Earth that humanity then brought back from extinction and brought to the stars during their golden age? Were all forms of life that were not created to be a part of the old one's war just tyrannids that have been cut off by a previous excursion into our galaxy? As you can see, whether being brought back from extinction by humans and spread through the galaxy, or whether placed on planets by the Eldar or Tyranids, there are still many forms of life that can share common traits throughout the galaxy. As many planets have held Old Ones, Eldar, Tyranid, and the civilizations of humans all upon it, the origin of animals can be impossible to figure out. Were things intelligently designed or mutated by chaos? No matter what the millennia has done for these species, or who planned or didn't plan it, life now exists. I think the funniest and most stupid and still most 40k thing ever that I've read is the multiple variants of sharks that exist in 40k. There are normal sharks, ice sharks, and even land sharks. And of course, don't forget the space sharks, but that's just a chapter of Space Marines. So now you understand how much variation there is between genetically enhanced and mutated versions, or just the natural evolution that anything in 40k is capable of. I guess we should start with the ones you know and then get weirder. There are cats and dogs, both having quite a few forms, from their traditional form to giant versions of wolves or big cats. There's the giant wolf of Fenris, the Fenrisian wolf, whose larger forms are known as the Black Mane wolf, and whose apex form is known as the Thunder wolf. Beloved by the Space Marines and those of Fenris, and respected for their natural strength and pack nature, the Space Wolves seek to emulate or even tame the greatest of these beasts, as much as a beast like them can be tamed. Should a Space Wolf successfully kill an alpha, they will take their place and return to their brothers amongst new company, who will fight beside him loyally till the end, snatching up victims in their jaws, and then tearing their prey's head off with violent thrashing motions and their gnashing, grinding bite. There's also canids made from DNA recovered upon Terra, holding the most recognizable form to the dogs we know today. They're used for many purposes and can be trained to be a very big help to humanity, being employed by guardsmen widely across the Imperium. There are also chem dogs that have mutated from living upon Vostroya, somehow surviving, but with a new form becoming apex predators and thriving where other life would have failed. As well, there are also cats in the far future. Just plain old house cats have made it, as well having more variants known to us. The Grinx is a lynx-like cat that is used by many psychers, although it can be a great companion to any, as they have a strong need to bond with another, even being known to form that partnership with animals they adopt. Although preferring to adopt a human or Eldar, they then bond with that being, and their incredible font of empathy allows the psyker a greater control and power level through the state of mind and connection brought about by having such a loyal and empathetic creature so closely bonded with you and your state of being. The Grinx even takes on personalities that grow more and more similar to their owners, making those Grinx that bond with Dark Eldar cruel and fickle compared to those bonded with humans or Light Eldar. The Fear cat is a large panther-like cat from the planet Fear, spelled P Phyrr, a planet known for having all forms of life being toxic to any that are alien from fear. As anything from fear, from the smallest spores to the largest predator, is filled with gene toxins that have bonded with all organisms upon fear, destroying the cells of any who are not native to fear and leaving only bones and sludge behind. A spore entering a body, a bite or sting, anything can quickly kill, and as such, the fear cap is prized for its lethality, only by the most deranged and nuts leaders of some of Necromunda's gangs. Still, if they can smuggle them into Necromunda, they will seek to do so, and rogue traders will be there to supply them. My favorite of the felines of 40k is the Carnodon, a very large cat. The best image we have of one is in fact its pelt draped over the shoulder of Sanguinius, and there is shown to be a white pelt with black spots like a snow leopard. However, it also has features of a saber-toothed cat, described as being between 5 and 6 meters in length, being around 2,000 pounds. These large beasts are probably my personal favorite, and though described purely as a larger form of snow leopard in the earlier tellings of Sanguinius and the Emperor, they have now shifted to snow leopard saber-tooth mixes with stripes or spots, and surprisingly little written about them. For the ridiculous amount of fanfic that the Fenrisian wolves get, the Carnodon gets next to nothing, although I hear that the Inquisitor Eisenhord and his acolytes fought 2 of them when they became trapped in an arena during a mission against House Glaw on planet Gudrun. Before I fully leave behind cats and dogs, you should know about the Krurian war beast, something that looks exactly like a dog, only with more spiky bits and a more bony looking skull for bashing, and their front paws, which have the ability to hold things. They're sometimes seen using cruel melee weapons, although rarely, and strangely, more of them are being seen with the Inquisitors of the Ordo Xenos. The last cat/dog is just that, a cat/dog. The Saberwolf, custom-bred apex predators able to move and hunt silently, then able to attack with powerful muscled bodies and elongated skulls with many rows of fangs meant to hold onto and then rend away at their prey. Made through the mixing of mutant and Xenos creatures, the Saberwolves are a unique design that proves the endless variation of life in 40k, and how not all of it is strictly natural. There are also multiple bugs and gross things. Spiders a few meters across, and worms and centipedes large enough to worry the biggest tanks of the Imperium. The description of orb, trapdoor, and many other spiders growing to the size of meters in the underhive of the Imperium cities is just dreadful, and centipedes large enough to crush through tanks with one single bite as well is terrifying. Something called the Zothic blood locust infects many planets in the Calixis sector, and they're basically mosquito locust hybrids of massive proportions that can drain all the liquid from a human's body very quickly. There's rust decopods that eat metal, looking like giant crabs that are also known to punch holes in the mantles of planets, causing volcanic eruptions. There's sludge jellies that live in the toxic sludge of the underhive for centuries, growing to mammoth scale. There's bloodworms and parasites that live within the body, and even worms that fly through the air. There's clear jelly oozes that eat your brain while releasing chemicals to make you feel very strong and very happy and not wanting to let them go until they eat away your entire brain and reproduce into more of them. There's this other thing that are just spiky mouths with teeth and wings that attach themselves to your head and then wrap their wings around your face and start feeding, and any attack on them being dangerous to the person as well as the animal as they're wrapped around your head. There's less dangerous things like sunworms that lie in the sun all day and then use that energy to get through the night, being able to shock people, and might one day make good living batteries able to be utilized by the Imperium, although at this moment people haven't found how to use them yet. And though cows have seemingly not survived, there is a particularly hardy lizard that, though extremely aggressive, once lobotomized can be raised as a food source and has become the main replacement. This animal is known as a grox and is very territorial and dangerous, but is worth the accidents that occur for the source of food they serve as. Many animals in 40k are only mentioned in the weapons they are harvested for, the ice blades of the space wolves or the Reaper chainblade being examples. I was unaware, but it seems most of the best chainsword teeth in the 40k universe are in fact just that, teeth from animals on many planets. The teeth of these animals are harvested and used as the teeth of chain blades, even for the giant titans or knights. The amount of animals required to make a single one of these chain blades can prove to be so difficult to fulfill that the weapons made from these animals are revered and given the greatest care to maintain them. There's also horrifying monstrosities only called animals because of their lack of true intelligence, like the Dusk Walker, an animal that looks like a hybrid of a withered elderly human and a four-legged spider. They haunt the deep swamps of the planet Dusk, and now they also haunt your nightmares. There are tree jumpers, giant mantids with camouflage abilities that leave them invisible to all but those with the most keen sight. There's Ripper Whips, basically ropers from D&D, mimics, small primates that shift forms but not size, changing forms from orcs to humans to little Eldar and back, even changing to look like inanimate objects like weapons or cloth. And then there's the barking toad of Catachan, which is just death waiting to happen. When it is disturbed, it releases a poison, the most deadly poison known to the Imperium, within a radius of 1 kilometer. A cloud of poison erupts forth, killing all life forever, nothing being able to regrow there ever. Even a power-armored marine cannot survive. No known form of armor that the Imperium has can save biological life from this poison. Not even the frog survives. Reduced to a pool of jelly, like all other biological life this toxin meets. So it's not even a good self-defense mechanism. I have no idea why this toad can do it, but there's a toad that kills all life within 1 kilometer in 40k, because 40k, I guess. There's also Dinosaurs, which is the name given to many giant reptiles that live throughout the galaxy, in endless forms and variations. These giant beasts can be passive herbivores or aggressive carnivores, some flying and some likely having been changed by exposure to warp energies or genetic engineering from humans or Eldar for the purpose of creating even stronger and deadlier beasts. There exists every form of dinosaur that you can imagine in 40k, with warp rifts and spaceships. There's no knowing where is safe, or even when a rift will open up and deposit a T-Rex right in the middle of your transport or colony, as a fun little prank by Chaos. You know, dinosaur on a spaceship. Now getting a little more mythical, whether or not it was through survival to exposure of the warp, there are life forms straight out of fantasy, like the Kraken of Fenris and the Salamanders of Nocturne. The largest of the salamanders, known as fire drakes, and being able to breathe fire like a dragon. Though not being winged, they are still very powerful beasts, and the Krakens of Fenris are believed to be a remnant of a previous Tyranid incursion. There are a few more recognizable animals in 40k. The razorwings and the rocks are species of predatory birds, razorwings being the name for many different species with similar behaviors, razorwings even being used by the Dark Eldar on occasion. The rocks are native to Kievar, the homeworld of the Raven Guard, and are intelligent and vicious animals sacred to the Raven Guard chapter, with chaplains sometimes embarking on ceremonial hunts like those of the Salamanders chapter and their fire drakes, or those of the Space Wolves chapter and their Fenrisian wolves. There is another giant reptile living in swamps and areas with water. They are the large crocodilians called the Crocodilid. Although closely related in some form to dinosaurs, it's unique enough to get a mention here, as their form has not changed in so long even in reality, so having them in 40k makes perfect sense. As well, there are bears, the Cud Bear being a wild bear known to prowl the death world of Cathel, sometimes even getting onto spacebound ships in search of food and end up massacring the entire crew. And then there's the Scrag Bears that have been partially domesticated by humans, and are used as war mounts by those brave enough to train one. The animals then becoming familiar with the scent of their master, and then attacking most who smell unfamiliar. Riding a bear into battle when you fire lasers is something that I want to see so badly. I want someone to do fan art of that. It just seems like it should be on the side of a van or something. Horses have also made it into space, although not like the last Star Wars movie, it's not that bad. Although they've been bred to even greater heights of strength, speed, and size. Larger than the biggest percheron and faster than any we have today, being alongside humans for millennia has produced stunning success. Now though, those of the death world of Krieg do not leave it to chance, growing horses in giant vats and engineering them to be the perfect warhorse, and then bolstering them still with drugs for battle that ensure the bravest, boldest, strongest, and toughest horse able to shrug off wounds that would be fatal to a normal, unaltered horse. And I always thought that a horse that could run through the webway or warp and then appear in real space again would be so cool. Being able to travel through dimensions, for lack of a better term, able to move through solid objects by slipping into the webway or warp for a short time and then reappearing on the other side. There's also the Terra squirrel, who go from one generation of peaceful, wonderful, fluffy friends to having the next generation be bloodthirsty, murderous flying squirrels. It's unknown what causes such a change in behavior from generation to generation. These fluffy little maniacs are endearing and terrifying at the same time, especially when you take numbers into account. They're cute when there's just one or two, but a bunch in a feeding frenzy would be nightmare fuel. And then there's just some plain silly and ridiculous ones. On Nocturne, there's lava whales. I already mentioned land sharks and ice sharks. But there's also sky whales. They live not on plankton, but on the pollen of plants that they breathe in as they drift through the air. I really like that. And they're used by humans as air transport. And then there are small creatures known as Fluff Beasts, which float on the wind unaffected by weapons, just being cute fluff balls, I guess. Or are they the precursor to the great fluffball invasion, the true threat that the Tyranids are running from? So there's tons of animals in 40k, and there's an elemental, mutated, Xenos, or warp-changed version of pretty much any animal. And what nature hasn't made, some human or dark Eldar has. Or maybe even some good Eldar. I wonder what animals the Eldar engineered at the height of their empire. It's hard to say what the origin is of any animal in the universe of 40k. I think my favorite out of all of these would be the Carnodon, the giant snow leopard thing. And if it could somehow be like the Grinks giving a psychic bonus, or even the Carnodon with some sort of psychic attack, that would be the coolest. Although two close runners up are the Crocodilid or one of the Dinos. And I just can't get the image of someone with a laser gun and chainsword riding a bear into battle out of my mind. It's just too metal. I realized I didn't mention squigs. They always seem to be more closely related to orcs than any other type of life, so I just consider them part of the orcs. So what was your favorite? The Saberwolf, the Sky Whale, Fire Drakes, Thunderwolves, Crocodilians, Grinkses, Carnodons, Razorwings, Rocks, or Dinos? If you can imagine it, it exists in 40k. Thanks for watching, everyone. I hope you enjoyed. Despite how short this might be, I've spent way too long today reading through wikis and forums finding this info for you. As I said, lots of the important ones weren't even on a single list. You had to go through each chapter's homeworld page just to find out information, so it was a pain, but I think it'll be worth it to get this video made. So leave a like if you enjoyed, or subscribe for daily videos. Leave any questions or suggestions in the comments below, especially if I missed a cool animal, or if you have a neat idea. Thanks again for watching, and I'll see you in tomorrow's video.